Imagine a football field filled with rice shipping containers. Now imagine them all vanishing into thin air. This is not the plot of a fantastical heist movie, but the reality of a scam that unfolded in Dubai, leaving several Indian rice exporters astounded and devastated. In the heart of this audacious scheme was the disappearance of almost 250 rice shipping containers. Each container, measuring 20 by 8 feet, was a part of a shipment ordered by Dubai's Al Raunak Al Thabi General Trading. The scale of the scam was such that if you placed these containers end to end, they could occupy an entire football field. And what happened to the containers? They vanished. Not just the containers, mind you, but the owner and the entire staff of Al Raunak Al Thabi General Trading. As if they were characters in a mystery novel, they all disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a trail of bafflement and questions. These containers were not filled with mere trinkets. They held around 6,000 tons of rice ordered from 20-odd exporters in India. To give you a perspective, this amount of rice could feed UAE's entire population of around 9.68 million people for almost 5 days. The scale of the scam was not just limited to its physical manifestation. The audacity of the scamsters was such that, in their wake, they left a ripple effect of devastation that spread across 2 countries, affecting the lives and livelihoods of many. The audacious scam, meticulously planned and flawlessly executed, left a trail of devastation in its wake. The containers, the rice, the owners, all vanished into thin air, leaving behind a mystery that continues to baffle investigators and victims alike. And just like that, enough rice to feed UAE's entire population of 9.68 million for almost 5 days was gone. Poof, as if it never existed. The audacity of the scam is baffling, the execution flawless, and the aftermath devastating. Every detail was planned with precision, leaving no room for suspicion. Such was the meticulous planning behind the scam. The crafty swindlers had a deceptively simple strategy. Give the traders telegraphic transfer receipts as proof of payment. These receipts, commonly known as TTs, were supposed to be an assurance that the money for the rice shipments was on its way, being electronically remitted to the traders' banks back in India. The clever ruse created an illusion of legitimacy, a safety net of trust. The traders, reassured by the appearance of these receipts, felt secure in their dealings. After all, it seemed that their hard-earned money was just a few electronic pulses away. But then, the unthinkable happened. The money never arrived. The TTs, those symbols of reassurance, turned out to be hollow promises. The traders waited, their patience stretching thin as the days turned into weeks. And then, the shocking revelation: 23 TTs, amounting to a staggering $4.18 million, were canceled. The reason? Insufficient funds. The checks that were meant to guarantee the TTs bounced, leaving the traders in a state of disbelief. The proof of payment they had clung to was nothing but an elaborate ruse, a mirage in the desert of deceit. The scam, executed with such careful planning and attention to detail, left them shell-shocked. The realization dawned slowly, like a cruel joke. The money was never coming. The rice shipments they had sent, those enormous containers that could fill a football field, were lost in the abyss of deception. And the TTs, those symbols of trust, were nothing but pieces of paper, worthless in the face of the audacious scam. And then panic set in, a frantic scramble to salvage what was left. But the cruel reality was that it was far too late. The scammers were gone, vanished like mirages, leaving behind a trail of devastation and a chilling reminder of their meticulous planning. By the time panic set in, it was far too late. In the wake of the scam, devastation and confusion were left behind. The once bustling warehouse of Al Raunak Al Thabi General Trading in Al Quoz was now a ghost town, its large space echoing with the silence of a grand operation gone awry. The company's office at XL Tower in Business Bay that once held the promise of profitable trade was also stripped bare, a chilling testament to the audacious scam. The Indian rice exporters, who had poured their faith and capital into what seemed like a lucrative deal, were left to grapple with the cruel reality. They had flown to Dubai, a city glittering with promises of prosperity, only to find an empty warehouse and an abandoned office. Their dreams had evaporated, just like the elusive owner of Al Raunak and his entire staff. These exporters were not novices in the game of international trade. They had taken every precaution, every detailed step before releasing their shipments. They had visited Al-Raunak Al-Thabi's office, verified its trade license, and even met its general manager. They had carefully examined the telegraphic transfer receipts, a supposed confirmation of their payments being electronically remitted to their banks back in India. Yet, despite their diligent efforts, the money never arrived. Instead, they were left staring at 23 canceled telegraphic transfer receipts, a stark reminder of the $4.18 million they were now owed. The checks issued against these receipts had bounced due to insufficient funds, leaving the exporters in a state of shock and disbelief. The aftermath of the scam was a whirlwind of panic and desperation. The exporters rushed to the local authorities and the Indian consulate in Dubai, hoping for some form of respite. They were dealing with seasoned criminals, not petty thieves. They had been caught in an intricate web of deceit that extended far beyond the borders of their home country. Despite their best efforts, they found themselves victims of a well-executed scam. Their story serves as a stark reminder that even in a world of digital transactions and stringent checks, scams can still slip through the cracks, leaving devastation in their wake. The scale of the scam was far-reaching, affecting more than just rice exporters. The long list of victims paints a picture of a scam that was not only audacious, but also indiscriminate in its targets. Rice exporters such as KG Industries were hit for over $1 million. Harman Rice, a reputable exporter, saw losses amounting to $553,640. Amritsar Riceland, another significant player in the rice export business, was stripped of $451,250. The list doesn't end there. Arna Foodstuff, AS Impex, and Hira rice mills were also caught in the scam net, with losses in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the scam didn't stop at rice. It spread its tentacles to other commodities as well. Spice and coconut wholesalers were also targeted. Joseph International from Karnataka, a significant player in the spice market, lost $109,200. Manna Organic, another spice wholesaler, was stripped of $125,835. Even SJN Coir Export, a coconut wholesaler from Tamil Nadu, wasn't spared, losing a staggering $210,000. As the news of the scam spread, more victims started coming forward, revealing the true scale of the scam. The victims approached local authorities in Dubai and officials from the Indian consulate, reporting the scam and the devastating losses they suffered. The victims and the authorities quickly realized that the culprits weren't small-time crooks. They were dealing with seasoned criminals who meticulously planned and executed a scam of such scale and audacity. The scam was a stark reminder of the risks inherent in international trade and the need for more stringent checks and safeguards. They were not dealing with small crooks, but seasoned criminals. Trading scams are not new to the UAE, and this is not likely to be the last. In the recent past, there has been a surge in the frequency of such audacious scams, leaving a trail of devastated businesses in their wake. What makes these scams particularly insidious is the common pattern they follow, almost as if they're cut from the same cloth. Criminal syndicates with a keen eye for opportunity prop up seemingly legitimate companies. These companies are often fronted by dummy owners, who are nothing more than pawns in a larger, more sinister game. These dummy owners are the face of the company, providing a veneer of legitimacy that lures unsuspecting businesses into their trap. Once the trap is set, these companies, emboldened by their facade of legitimacy, begin to buy anything they can get their hands on. The method of payment is always the same: post-dated checks. These checks, however, are nothing more than pieces of paper, as they invariably bounce due to insufficient funds when the time comes to cash them. By the time the victims realize what has happened, it's too late. The dummy owners, along with the ill-gotten goods, have vanished without a trace, leaving behind an empty warehouse and a trail of devastated businesses. The victims are left to pick up the pieces, grappling with the harsh reality that they have been scammed. As these unstoppable scams continue unabated, the question on everyone's mind is, how can they be prevented? there are no easy answers. While regulatory bodies and law enforcement agencies are doing their best to combat these scams, it's clear that more needs to be done. Perhaps stricter regulations, enhanced due diligence, and greater international cooperation could be part of the solution. However, until a foolproof solution is found, businesses must remain vigilant and exercise extreme caution while dealing with new partners. It's a harsh lesson learned, but one that could potentially save others from falling victim to the same fate. As the victims of this scam look to the future, the question remains, how can these unstoppable scams be prevented?